you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, a Labour government will transform the New Zealand economy into a higher value and higher income economy through higher investment, innovation and industry development. But it will do more than that. It will actually transform our nation into a tech-savvy nation. But in order to do that, it has to tackle the technology issues that exist within our own public sector. And it might interest those on the other side to hear that government agencies are significant users of ICT products and services. They're a direct employer of ICT skilled workers and a customer of local product markets. Government purchasing in New Zealand makes up almost 15% of GDP. 15% of GDP. Now that is significant. Mr Speaker, it is the Labour Party's view that there are many huge, costly IT projects inside government. They often go badly, and it results in vast sums of money going offshore. Departments are secretive about their technology products, and they don't share them, even with other departments. Historically, government's willingness to adopt proprietary software has enabled various vendor monopolies within government IT, and there are significant issues emerging around this which are impacting on our government and the way that we operate, but it's also being seen across the world, and particularly with the countries that we do a lot of business with. Citizens, businesses and delivery partners such as charities and voluntary groups need to be able to interact with government officials, sharing and editing documents. And officials within government departments also need to be able to work efficiently and be able to share and collaborate. It's also the Labour Party's view that the one-size-fits-all approach to public sector procurement and build processes is fundamentally flawed, and it costs this country millions of dollars every year in failed software projects, robbing us of the chance to be a world leader in the development of innovative public sector products. And all I have to do is mention NovaPay. NovaPay, more than 2,000 schools are still struggling to deal with this dilapidated system. More than $9.3 million in debts to recover, and ongoing errors are still creating hundreds of thousands of dollars in new debt. The IRD project, a government which is demanding that IT contractors be massive and slow-moving. Even the Minister, Peter Dunn, has said that has got problems with the way that the procurement processes have occurred. $1.5 billion. And these are things that we have serious concerns about, not just us who have serious concerns about it. Interestingly, apart from the wider sector that has serious concerns, the New Zealand Productivity Commission, which last week released its latest report, and in it was some damning findings about the lack of integration within the government on ICT policy, to do with regulatory issues and to do with government ICT purchases. It referred to silo thinking in government departments, a lack of coordination and regulation being introduced without regard for economic impact. And that is very interesting, because it even made a recommendation which said that as a matter of promoting good policy advice, the Treasury, the State Services Commission and the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet should ensure that the design of regulation that significantly affects the adoption of ICT by firms takes comprehensive account of costs and benefits. Now, if that doesn't tell you that you've got problems, I don't know what does. And the big problem, the biggest problem here is the lack of leadership, and a lack of vision on that side of the House around tackling these very important things. This report, Mr Speaker, went on to say that knowledge spillovers from government ICT procurement are only likely to have value if the government is at the leading edge of ICT adoption, which it says it isn't. On the contrary, it says the technologies that government agencies use are often older than those used in the private sector. For example, some agencies continued to use Windows XP long after it has been superseded by more recent versions and right up until security support was withdrawn by Microsoft. This was in April this year. There are nearly 20,000 government computers without security support being used at this point.
I call the Honourable Member Claudette Hoiti. Tēnā koe, Ms Hoiti.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. It's a